Hey guys, Mark here. I hope you're all doing well. In today's video, I'm going to demonstrate the heart pattern paracord bracelet. This design is made with the help of macrame, which is very adept at stacking various knots in order to make patterns. You can make a bracelet like this using any type of a cordage, be it hemp, be it cotton, but naturally we're going to be using paracord in my case. Now before we move on in this video, let me just mention that this is a very manly bracelet. There is nothing particularly odd in a man demonstrating a heart pattern paracord bracelet. The red is the color of blood, and black is the color of a real man's soul. So nothing unusual here. Here you can see an example of this style of a bracelet. You can see the heart pattern, and the bracelet is closed using the loop and knot method. So you simply slide the knot into the loop and the bracelet closes. Now the bracelet is made using fairly fine cordage. I'm using microcord in this case, but you can also use type 1 paracord. But the bracelet gets a lot bigger real fast. So I recommend using microcord or type 1 paracord at the most. Now, the bracelet pattern is one that is very similar to the Chevron pattern that I have featured in the past. Basically, it is a slightly modified version which enables you to make the heart pattern. With this said, let's jump right into the tutorial. As far as supplies go, the main supply is going to be cordage. I'm going to be using microcord in my case, but you can choose to use type 1 paracord, natural cordage such as hemp or cotton. You can use satin or any other material that you have available. Now I'm going to be using 2 strands of the red color and 2 strands of the black color. You can use another color combination as well. Now as far as the length for each of these strands is concerned, each strand is about 6.5 to 7 feet long. This is enough for a 6-inch weave. The next useful supply is going to be a clipboard, or in my case, a clip as well as a board. You're also going to need something to cut the cords with, as well as a lighter to melt the ends. With these supplies ready, let's begin. Before we continue with the actual tying of the pattern, we need to do the initial setup. So in this step, we're going to form a loop, as well as bring all 4 strands together, so that we can then use those strands to build the pattern. So first, I'm going to pick up one of the strands, in my case of the color red, and I'm going to fold it in half. At the middle point, I'm going to form a loop. So a simple loop. Then I'm going to pick up a second strand, this time of the other color, so in my case of the color black, and again I'm going to fold it in half. Then I'm going to feed this folded end, also called a bite, through the loop, like this. Then use the 2 strands of this second strand to go through the bite, creating a lark's head knot. So like this. And with this we have already set up 2 of our strands. We have 2 more to do. So we now pick up another black strand, and this time we're going to travel through here. Like this. And with this we have 3 strands ready for use. We have 1 more to do. So the last one is going to be of the color red. And again, we go through the lark's head knot and we pull the strand through. Like this. So now if we take a look, we have a sequence of strands. We have red, black, red, black on the right side, and red, black on the left side. And with this we have the initial setup done. Now, tighten up your lark's head knot quite firmly. Like this. Then reduce the size of your loop to an appropriate size. It shouldn't be too large, just enough for the finishing knot to pass through. This is the final setup. Now that I have set up my strands, I'm going to slide my loop under a clip in order to secure the strands. Like this. We can now begin tying. Now, before we actually begin building the body of the bracelet, we're also going to take a look at the 2 basic knots used to tie the pattern. These are the so-called forward and backward knot, and we're going to also refer to them as a 4 shape or simply as a hitch. Now to demonstrate, I'm first going to show you how to tie a forward knot. A forward knot is tied by taking one strand and passing it under the other strand like this in order to create a 4-like shape. Then we pass over this strand and back under like this. Tighten up, and essentially what you get is a hitch. Now we usually repeat this knot 2 times, so we did it once, then we make another 4 shape by passing under the other strand again, so another 4, then we pass over the other strand and back under. Tighten up like this, and what you get is a forward knot. The backward knot is tied almost identically to the forward knot. The only difference is that the 4 shape is going to face the right side, not the left. So in this case, we take the other strand, we pass it under, just like before, and we get a 4 shape that faces the right side. Some also call this a P. Then I travel over the strand and back under. Tighten up. And you have made a hitch, and you repeat the same process. So again, a 4 shape that faces the right side, pass over the strand, then back under and tighten up. Like this. And this is the backward knot. Now it is extremely important that you tighten up these knots very firmly. I am not able to always tighten it up properly while I'm demonstrating, but you will want to tighten these forward and backward knots as tightly as you can. With this, we can finally begin tying our bracelet. We can now begin tying the body of the bracelet. To do this, we're going to repeat a certain sequence of steps several times until we reach a sufficient length for our bracelet. The first step is to use these two outer strands to create a chevron pattern. I'm going to start with the first strand from the left, pass it under the second strand on the left, like this, essentially creating a 4 shape that faces the left side. Then I'm going to pass over this second strand and back under. Then tighten up. Like this. Then repeat one more time. Take your working strand, so the first one from the left, and place it under the second one from the left. Again, this creates a 4 shape. Pass over the second strand using your working strand, then go back under it. Finally, tighten up. You will want to tighten very firmly. Like this. Now do the same thing using the third strand. Pass under it, creating a 4 shape that again faces the left side. Then pass over the third strand and back under. Then tighten up. Tighten firmly. Like this. Then repeat for a second time, passing under the third strand, creating a 4 shape, pass over the third strand, then back under. Tighten up, like this, and we can now continue with the last strand on the left side. We pass under it to create another 4 shape. Like this. Then we pass over the strand and back under. Tighten up. Again, do it firmly. Then repeat for a second time. Create a 4 shape that faces the left side. Pass over the strand, under the strand, then tighten up. Like this. We now have our first strand on the fourth position, so it is the last one on the left. We can now begin working with the strands on the right side. So I take my first one from the right side, I pass it under the second strand from the right side, creating a 4 shape that faces the right side. Now I pass over this strand, so over the second strand on the right, then under it. Tighten up firmly, just like on the other side. Then again, a 4 shape facing the right side, pass over the second strand, under the second strand, and tighten up firmly. Then our third strand, we pass under it to create a 4 shape, then pass over the third strand, under the third strand, and tighten up. And repeat one more time. So pass under the third strand to create a 4 shape. Pass over the third strand, under the third strand, and tighten up. Like this. And now the last strand on the right side, we pass under it to create a 4 shape. Then over it, under it, and tighten up. And one more time. We pass under the fourth strand on the right to create a 4 shape. Pass over the strand, under the strand, and tighten up. Always tighten firmly. Then, finally, I'm also going to go over the last strand on the left. So the fourth one on the left, so the previous one that I used to go over the strands on the left. Again, pass under it to create a 4 shape facing the right side. Go over it, then under it. Tighten up. And one more time. 4 shape by passing under the strand, then over it, under it. Tighten up. And you have done your first chevron pattern. In the second step, I'm again going to make a chevron pattern, again using the outer strands. So this time, the chevron pattern is going to be of the black color. The sequence is going to be exactly the same as in the previous chevron. So we're going to go through the left strands, then through the right ones. So let's begin. And again, when finishing, I'm also going to use the last strand on the left and make 2 4 shapes on the last strand. Like this. A black chevron is now made and we have finished step 2. The third step is going to be quite short. I'm going to use the second strands from the left and right side in order to create a couple of 4 shapes. Now I'm going to start with this left strand, so the second one from the left, and this time I'm going to create a 4 shape passing under the first strand, and the 4 is now facing the right side. So this is the 4. Then I pass over the first strand, so over and back to the left side. Tighten up. Like this. Then repeat one more time. So a 4 shape facing the right side. Then I pass over the first strand and back under. Then tighten up firmly. Like this. The point here was to get 2 strands of the color red here to the center. Now let's do the same on the right side. So this time I'm going to make 4 shapes facing the left side using my second strand. So a 4 shape like this, over this strand, so the first one, then back under. And one more time. A 4 shape facing the left side. I pass over, then under. And tighten up firmly. Again, I have 2 strands of the red color at the center. Step 3 complete. The next step is going to be made using the 2 strands that are second from left and right. We're going to make a smaller chevron pattern. So I'm going to start with the second strand from the left, pass under the third strand to create a 4 shape that faces the left side. Then pass over and back under. Like this. And to repeat one more time. So a 4 shape facing the left side, pass over and back under. Like this. Now also go under the 4th strand and repeat the same process. So a 4 shape facing the left side, pass over it, then back under, and one more time, 4 shape, pass over it, and back under, like this. And I have used up my 2 strands on the left. Now, using the second strand from the right, I'm going to pass under the third strand from the right side, creating a 4, then pass over it and back under. One more time, a 4 shape towards the right side, pass over it, back under, and tighten up. Then the 4th strand from the right side, we make a 4 shape, pass over it, under it, and one more time, and finally the last strand on the left, pass under it, over, back under, and one more time, 4 shape, pass over, then back under, and with this we have made a shorter version of the chevron pattern at the very center. In the next step, we are again going to be using the 2 second strands from the left and right. I'm going to start with the left one, so the second left. I'm going to make a 4 shape facing the right side. So this one. Then pass over, so over, and back under. Like this. Then one more time, a 4 shape, facing the outside, pass over and back under. Tighten up, like this. Then continue with the second strand here on the right side. So, again, a 4 shape facing the left side, pass over and back under, and one more time, a 4 shape facing the left side, pass over, back under, and tighten up. After adding these 2 strands to the outside, we have 2 strands of the black color at the center. We're now going to use these two to again make a short chevron pattern at the center. So I'm going to start with the second strand on the left and use it to go through the two strands on the left side. So for shape, pass over, then back under. Then another one. Like this. And the next strand. Again we make a four shape. Over the strand, back under. And another four shape facing the left side, over the strand and back under. With this, I have completed my work with the left strands. Now I move on to the right side. And finally, the last strand on the left as well. And with this, we have completed a chevron pattern at the center. And this is one sequence complete. So, after completing the final step, we begin with a new sequence. So from here on, we would continue with the step 1, step 2, and so on. So, after lining up a series of these hearts, you should get a sufficient length for your bracelet. The real pattern is going to show on the underside of the bracelet. Now, the last step that we need to do is to take our working ends, make a stopper knot, and then use it to close the bracelet with the help of the loop. So the loop, as well as the stopper knot, are going to close our bracelet. Now the easiest stopper knot that you can use is to simply do an overhand knot. So you make a loop, then you feed all of the ends through the loop. Tighten up, and you should get a stopper knot in the form of an overhand knot. Now this is a bit of a rushed finish, and I'm not terribly fond of it. I prefer to finish with a proper knot, and a proper knot would be, for example, a Matthew Walker knot, or even better, a footrope knot. So in the next section, I'm going to show you how to make a nicer finish using the footrope knot. To finish up this bracelet in a more decorative way, I'm going to tie a footrope knot. The first step is going to be to spread apart the strands, 2 to each of the sides. 2 to the left, 2 to the bottom, 2 to the right, 2 to the top. Then I'm going to continue by tying a crown knot. I pick up 2 of the strands and pass counterclockwise over the next 2. Then the next 2 travel counterclockwise over the next 2. Then the next 2 travel over the next 2. And then the last pair is going to travel into the loop created by the first 2 strands. Then tighten up slightly. And you should get a fairly square crown knot at the top. Now I'm going to pick up 2 of the strands. I'm going to pass under the next 2 strands, past these 2 strands coming out of the bracelet and up through the center of the crown knot. So past these 2 next strands coming out of the bracelet, then through the center and up. Like this. Then pick up the next set of strands and we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to go past the next 2 strands coming out of the bracelet, as well as under these 2, then directly up and through the middle. Then the next set of strands, again, under the 2 strands coming out of the bracelet, and under the next 2 strands, and up and through the middle. The last 2 strands pass over here, so under the next 2 strands coming out of the bracelet, then up and through the middle. Now this was a bit hard to see because I have so many strands to work with. If you have any issues tying this knot, take a look at my tutorial on the footrope knot. For now, pull on each set of the strands to tighten up your footrope knot. So something like this. A simple stopper knot that looks a lot better than an overhand knot. At this point, simply trim the ends, meld them, and you have a nice looking stopper knot. So guys, with this I'm pretty much done with this bracelet. All there's left to do is to close it using my loop and stopper knot method, and it is ready to be used. Guys, thank you very much for joining me in this tutorial. I hope that it wasn't terribly hard. I know that these techniques take a bit of time to get used to, but I think that the end result is well worth it. Thank you and see you next time.